But say if your home's 400,000, you'll want your loan officer to write you 385,000, 395,000, 400,000, and 410,000. So your loan officer may write you 4 different approval letters. All right, so we are back with part 3 of buying a house in 2023. So these are some things you may or may not notice. This hopefully helps. Again, previous video for part 2, check it out. Step 1 of really buying the house, before you even get to buying a house, you want to go ahead and get a loan officer. Like I said, after you get a loan officer, you got the pre-approval, they've done the check, get a pre-approval letter. You can get a pre-approval letter once you're pretty connected with your loan officer before they even really run your credit again or aggressively hit your credit. I've done that. Again, is the pre-approval letter concrete until your credit's really ran? No, that's why funding can slip up and the buyer cannot be a buyer no more. But it's all up to you and how you do things with your loan officer. Get your realtor. After you get your realtor, you'll go ahead and look at as many homes as you want. Look at as many homes as you want. Do it within a respective time. Don't be too long to where now you got to try and get your loan approved again or whatever. But look at as many homes as you want. After that, you're going to go ahead and make an offer on a home. To make an offer on a home, you'll talk to your loan officer. Your loan officer is going to write you, hopefully do it a little bit different. You'll take those approval letters, send them to your realtor. Now your realtor can do your negotiating to get you the best deal. The reason why you want to have multiple letters is because your loan officer or your realtor it might be in the middle of the night. It might be the next early morning, and to contact you in the early morning, wait for your loan officer to be back in the office to write you a proper letter. It might give you the window that you lost. So now you can't get this house because somebody else already has the letters. Somebody else's realtor is already negotiating. And if you can send a letter and get that seller to sign, you're in the win. So that's the reason why you want to have your loan officer write you multiple letters. So then your realtor can be really prepared. You can write a letter for the smallest amount you're willing to, or the biggest amount you're willing to pay, the lowest amount you want to get. Hopefully you get that, and then the middle. So it can be 3 letters. It just depends on how you want to do it. But I highly recommend do multiple letters from your loan officer so you can give them to your realtor. After you do that, things are going in negotiation. You already talked with your realtor, obviously, on what you think you could get this house for, what it's really valued at, and so forth. And some of these are all guesses, so they're not as concrete as you may think in the moment. But it could be worth it. After you do that, you make your offer. The seller takes your offer or doesn't take your offer. But most likely they can take your offer. Cool. Once they sign, you have a certain amount of days to put money in escrow. So once they sign, you might have 3 business days to go wire the money, deposit the money, or write a cashier's check to give them, and you want to give it to title. You don't need to give it to your realtor, the loan officer. You want to put it in title, which are what they might call escrow. Once you deposit that money in there, now you have, depending on your realtor's negotiation, you have a certain amount of days for inspection days. So you might have 10, 15, whatever amount of inspection days. Your inspection days are pretty important. The reason for that is they give you a window to back out and get your deposit back. They give you a window to back out. You can say, hey, look, I felt like a little cough in my throat. I'm backing out. Hey, the sun doesn't wake up on that side of the bed today. I'm backing out. We don't like the house anymore and we want to make an offer on this house. I'm backing out. It can be for whatever reason, but in those inspection days, you want to shoot for 15, and depending on your contract, what they negotiate, you can shoot for 10. Communicate with your loan officer on what is going on, and communicate with your realtor. Your realtor should be on top of everything. Your realtor should be communicating with you. Hey, we got the offer. Hey, this is what they're cool with. And the back and forth, the reason for all the negotiating is because you're trying to get money on what they call concessions. Now, concessions is trying to get the client that is a seller who's trying to sell the home to pay some of the closing costs. So a lot of times people don't talk about this, but they say, hey, get an FHA loan, 3.5% down, you're good. But there is a number and a price. You might not always be the person who pays this number and price, but there is numbers and prices past that 3.5%. And those things are, if you ever want me to do like a whiteboard and write all this stuff down, let me know. But this is really early and I don't know how in detail people want me to get. So I'm trying to just give something kind of basic that they can kind of listen to. But you might go, hey, look, we want closing after the down payment of 3.5%, closing and stuff might be 9,000. It might be more, but there's a whole bunch of taxes and people that got to get paid. So with that money, you got another, say if it's 9,000 down for down payment of the 3.5%, you might do another 9,000. So you really need to have about 20 to 25,000 in your checking account. Just depends. Now, you already want to have a decent amount in your checking account, and your loan officer will already know what's in your checking account. But you can not, have that money. Just depends on what you guys are negotiating. So in this situation though, we got a good realtor, and she made sure we don't pay any closing costs, and we made sure we all asked for something that we didn't know if we could or could not get. So it helped us in the end because we were able to ask and say, hey, look, we don't want to pay this. Ask them to pay this. And once the realtor asked, negotiated, they paid it. So it was a win for us. We only had to pay the 3.5% down, and then we're in a good zone. Now the 3.5% is could in your situation be separate from what went in escrow. So what went in escrow, which is maybe that 3 to 5,000, depending on what the requirement in that contract may be, that might go to something else. A lot of times there's another fee for the title. Depending on your contract, it might be you, it might be them who pay this cost. That could be $2,000, that could be $3,000 for the title of the ownership of the home to be moved over. Unlike a car where you have one title, homes have a title and they have a mortgage contract. So there's two contracts on a home. So it just depends on your contract, but they have two different titles. So it just depends. So that's part 3 of buying a home. Hopefully this helps.